Our city streets are designed to be dangerous. We see fast-moving speedways through the middle of our streets in Soma, people turning without looking. It's become a culture in San Francisco to drive dangerously.
This is our city, the city of San Francisco. Voted one of the most walkable cities in the United States. Population 825,863, living in just 49 square miles. An average of 900,000 cars commute into and through the city on a daily basis. This is my friend Jikaiah, a hairstylist of 11 years, aspiring photographer, enjoying life with what she can afford, loves and lives in the heart of San Francisco, walks to work every day. This is a story for drivers. This is a story for pedestrians. This is a story for people living paycheck to paycheck, trying to make it in the big city. And this is a story about how your life can change within the blink of an eye. For Jikaiah, that day was September 26, 2013.
I was walking to work, and on the end of my block of where I live, I waited for the light to turn green and for the walk sign to come on. And as I walked into the crosswalk, not too far into it, next thing I know, I was hit. I open my eyes and I feel a lot of pain in my head. I barely reached my hand up for what I could, and there was just blood coming out and covering my hand, and I could just hear her going, oh my God, it's all my fault. It was just really horrific. Like, I couldn't move my neck, I couldn't move anywhere else. I was in a lot of pain and on morphine and all these things, but still within that, I couldn't stop throwing up.
Jikaiah left the hospital with a permanent brain injury that caused a loss of smell and taste, short-term memory loss, extreme unexpected social anxiety, insomnia, and a loss of motor skills. To top it all off, she sought out legal representation but was told by several lawyers that they couldn't take the case because the defendant had little to no assets to sue for. This left Jikaiah with mountains of paperwork to sort through in order to find a way to pay for an accident she didn't cause.
In the police report, the witness said that I had a green light and that she ran a red light, which wasn't investigated, but the police didn't ticket her, which apparently is protocol here, that unless they see somebody hit you, even though the person says they hit you, even though everyone around says they hit you, they still don't get a ticket. So while even being in the hospital or going back for appointments, speaking with the doctors or nurses, people go, so what happened? And I say, I got hit by a car in a crosswalk. And they go, oh, that person's in a lot of trouble now, huh? And I go, actually, no, none. She doesn't have to pay anything, and she got her license, and she can go hit anyone else she wants.
After talking to Jikaiah about her traumatic experience, we wondered, why wasn't the driver held responsible for her actions? To try and understand the situation better, we contacted Walk SF, a San Francisco pedestrian advocacy group, where we met Nicole Schneider, who helped explain why our city's policies are the way they are and what is being done to change them.
Even if a person is killed, only about 65% of people who commit those crimes are actually cited.
As it turns out, pedestrians who are hit by cars make up 50% of our traffic deaths here in San Francisco. This is nearly 4 times the national average and the second highest rate in all cities outside of New York.
We see these inequities because our streets are designed poorly and they're made for cars, not people. And we see it because we also don't prosecute and don't penalize people who hit and kill or hit and injure other people. In a lot of our streets, like the ones where Jikaiah was hit, there are 2 one-way streets intersecting. And when you're on a one-way street, it creates this freeway-like feeling, like I can just go. There's no other kind of oncoming traffic to slow you down or to kind of think about, so you can speed. There's about 200% more or 250% more traffic crimes than there are violent crimes, shootings and stabbings in San Francisco. But we don't look at them as crimes. We look at them as accidents. And I think until we start changing that and really understanding that these are crimes, we're not going to see any change.
So many questions ran through our heads as we tried to take in these staggering statistics. Questions like, so what is being done to change this? When will this all happen? And what can we do to help?
We worked with the city to adopt what's called the pedestrian strategy. The strategy calls for a reduction in pedestrian crashes by 50% by 2021, and it lays out a series of ways to get there, from kind of city design and street design concepts to enforcement and working with SFPD and the DA's office. And Walk SF played a major role in getting that pedestrian strategy released, in coming up with the concept of the strategy, and sharing that data publicly and engaging the public in this process.
But what about the people who are suffering from the damages of these kinds of accidents now? This question and many others are for our city council members and lawmakers. We asked a personal injury lawyer practicing here in San Francisco what his insights were on the current situation.
The way the justice system is set up is that you really basically, unless they kill them, the civil arena is intended to compensate somebody. It's a rare day that it's intended to punish. You punish somebody, like you can get punitive damages in some instances, but it's challenging. It's very hard to actually get punitive damages in a case. We probably get about 40 cases a year. We only accept cases we think we can prevail on.
It's frightening, and it needs to be changed. And like I said, this is something that we need to be vocal about, and we need to tell the police department, we're watching and we're waiting for you to set some policies up to make it fair for everybody on the road. Because right now, it's unfair, it's unjust, and pedestrians, everybody that walks, we all walk, we're all pedestrians at some point. We need to stand up and say, hey, I need to be protected. And whether that's at the city level or the state level or both, there needs to be change, and it needs to happen soon.
It's been 4 months now since my friend's accident in September. She still struggles on a daily basis to recover from her injuries. She has finally made it back to work, but is now faced with the possibility of losing her apartment due to her lost wages and other financial costs that have accrued over the past 4 months. In one of the nation's most walkable cities, if a pedestrian is hit by a vehicle while having the right-of-way, there are typically no citations given or follow-up investigations conducted in order to hold the driver accountable for their actions. This forces the injured parties to rely on insurance companies to cover the damages. The minimum personal injury coverage will only make up for a fraction of the average cost of recovery. Lawyers are then sought out to help in recovering the bulk of the damages. However, in most cases where the driver has little to no assets, lawyers are hesitant to represent the injured party because there is no potential profit to be made, which leaves people in this situation to either pay for it out of pocket or rely on government agencies, which are funded by our tax dollars, to pay for the accident. A type of accident that has occurred over 800 times within the past year. This is what happened to Jikaiah, and this could easily happen to any of us.
Police try to figure out exactly what happened out here. We know a young woman or a woman is dead, and a young man has come forward identifying himself to officers as the driver's repair, but there are still a lot of questions. His reporter has just left the scene with the victim, the driver, and the witnesses are immediately after the accident.
Get that tip.